sleeve, you don't need the ankle measurements, you don't need the wrist measurements, you don't just need any fitting for the sleeve, because it's not like a fitted sleeve, because there's going to be an elastic at the wrist. So first, here is our starting line. Then we'll take our armhole measurements, divide by 2 plus 1 inch, and I have here 10 inches. 10 inches. Then from there, I'll take my bicep measurement, my bicep line, and I have 4 inches. Your bicep is from your shoulder to your upper arm. It can be 4 inches, 4.5, or even 5 inches. So here is my bicep, and I'll still take that 4 inches here at the folded part. Then that mark, I go down by 1 inch. 1 inch like this. Then I'll use a French curve to connect or to curve from here to this point, to this 1 inch. I'll curve it like this. Like this. Then you use your free hand and you curve to meet this line. Like this. Then our sleeve measurements is, let's work with 21 inches. Okay, let me work with 20 inches. That is 20 inches and half. 20.5, because we are using half, we are going to be needing half inch to sew the sleeve to your dress. 20.5 inches. 20.5. Then the down part depends on how big you want to fold, you want the folded part to be, because you are going to fold it like this. So the down part can be 3 inches plus half inch, that is 3.5, just the way you want it to be. Let's work with 3.5 inches here. 3.5 inches. This is your normal, this line is your normal sleeve length. So this excess here is not going to affect your sleeve length, it's not going to make it longer, because we are still going to fold it like this, okay? So your excess depends on how big you want the down part to be. And I'm using 3 inches plus half inch, that is 3.5 inches. Your sleeve doesn't need any shaping. It doesn't need shaping at the elbow or at the wrist. So you are just going to take a straight line to meet your sleeve length. Like this. And we are done. So you are not cutting here. This is where you are cutting. So here is what we have. Notch the middle. So we are going straight to the sewing machine. This excess, you can iron it. You can iron. Okay, here is the front. Then what I'm going to do now is to sew. I'll sew like this. I'll fold it and sew to have a neat finishing. You fold half inch inside and sew. You can use pins to hold them down before sewing, or you can iron before you sew. So I'm going to sew half inch inside. This is what I have after sewing. Okay. When you make sure, you see that you still have your normal sleeve length. That 20.5 inch, I still have it here. So the next thing I'm going to do is to sew half inch away from here. From this part we sew, you measure half inch and sew. This is where our elastic band is going to pass through. Okay, so I'm going to sew half inch like this, half inch straight down. So here is my second stitch. We are going to fix our elastic band. So the measurement of your elastic band is your wrist. You are going to measure it with your wrist. It depends on you how tight or loose you want it to be. Okay, you know it's an elastic. It should be fitted like this. It should be fitted like this. It's an elastic. Okay, so here is what you have, and add half inch for the sewing allowance. So half inch for sewing allowance. So I'll cut through here. That is my wrist plus half inch for the sewing allowance. When it gets to this point, okay. So when it gets to this point, I'm going to sew it down so that it will not enter inside. So I'm going to sew, okay, so that it will not go in. So I've secured it, I've sewn it, then I'll keep pushing this one inside. I'll keep pushing like this. Then I'll sew this again before removing my safety pin. Okay, I've sewn it and I can now remove my safety pin. Here is what we have. So I'm going to sew down. So here is what we've got. I used 1 inch to sew it all the way down. Okay. So like I said, the elastic depends on how tight or loose you want it to be at your wrist. So it doesn't have a particular measurement. Where is it? This is what I have. Are you seeing? So I hope this tutorial was helpful, and I hope you are going to try something like this to give more vibes to your dress. Don't stick to only basic sleeve. So yeah, here's what I have. Please subscribe to my channel, share and like. Bye-bye.